on a walker design for both the caretaker and the user of the walker. And our design was taking into account that the walkers in their current state lack user friendliness. It's very hard to use walkers and they are often quite bulky. So the design principles that we decided to focus on were lightweight, compactability, maneuverability, and a more ergonomic design.
So some of the anti-principles that we wanted to avoid in this design, well, we wanted to avoid being bulky, we wanted to avoid being overly complex or hard for the user to use, and we also wanted to avoid it being unsturdy. So a number of products that formed our design, one of them is the stroller. So this demonstrates that the three-wheel design is really effective and compact. So the stroller has a really compact form factor, and it obviously has a lot of the same engineering requirements as our product, primarily in terms of safety, sturdiness, and overall collapsibility. Another set of products that informed our design are ski poles and tripods, as they have really strong telescoping mechanisms for compactability and collapsibility. So as you can see with this ski pole, we have a telescoping mechanism that gives the user an infinite amount of adjustability for how much they want to collapse the device, and then they can lock it in place very simply, and it's really good at supporting strong loads.
Okay, so we took a very standard walker design and we iterated directly upon it. And so as you can see, we have a lot of similar components from that standard walker, but we've modified it a lot. So it actually opens up like this, and then we have forearm braces that are on sliders, so you can optimize the ergonomics and stability for the user. And then they also pivot in line when you're folding the device up, so it's nice and compact. And additionally, we added a caster wheel to the front, and what that does is it really allows for a lot of maneuverability. It makes it much easier to go around obstacles, and this design also caters very nicely to fitting through tight spaces. Like if you're in your living room and you're stuck between a coffee table and a couch, you can tighten the walker slightly and it doesn't necessarily compromise the stability. You can still use it for that support that you need. We also added on, it's kind of hard to see, these 45-degree stoppers, and what that does is it allows for this device to be able to pivot along this front axis where that front caster wheel is, and it stops at the perfect 45-degree angle that you want for a nice wide wheelbase with good stability. A last thing that was pretty hard to design, but it was important. In the past, these wheels on the walker were through bolted. The axle was bolted right through the telescoping shaft, but we wanted increased telescoping, so we offset those axles such that we can collapse the device as much as possible. And we have that incorporated on every single shaft, even with the caster wheel. We have it such that you can telescope beyond the axle itself, and really what that enables us to do is telescope this to a maximum amount of compactness. It makes it much more portable. Now we're going to talk to you about improvements and further iterations that we would like to make on this design, given more resources and more time. One of the big ones is that we were kind of stuck with this spring pin system, which isn't our favorite. It does achieve the telescoping, which is what we really demanded from our design. But going back to what AJ talked about earlier with the tripod or ski pole design, this offers more adjustability, and we feel that it's a little bit more ergonomic to adjust, especially for older users with less nimble and agile hands. This can kind of be tricky to use in terms of dexterity. Also, there are some ski poles that, rather than having a latch at all, they just have like a twist system. So you essentially have full telescoping and then you just twist it counterclockwise and it locks. And so one other thing that's really nice about this is it has lines. So if you're adjusting, say, all three of these legs, you can adjust them to the exact height that you want for each of the legs to be equal in height, so the walker's not, lopsided. It's very stable. One additional thing that we would like to add that is totally informed by ski poles and tripods is, given the walker that we had to iterate on, it only has one stage of telescoping right here, but as you can see, the ski pole has 2 stages, and some tripods have 3 stages, and I think incorporating at least 2 stages would be able to reduce the overall compact size of this by 50% or even more, and that would be really quite an improvement in terms of portability.
In terms of improving the overall industrial design of the product, we would look into choosing better color, material, and finish to make it more aesthetically pleasing device for the user. Additionally, we would look into changing the geometry to make it more user-friendly. So considering we could add in further geometries for the wheelbase to allow for maybe a 45-degree angle below the first telescoping mechanism to allow for a wider and more adjustable wheelbase. And we would also consider using higher strength materials that are also lightweight. And furthermore, looking into the geometry of the overall device and optimizing for greater strength and stability and lowering the center of gravity.
So adding on to what AJ said about the wheelbase and about the overall geometry of the walker, one thing that we would consider if we had more time and resources going forward is that the fact that as you're standing in this walker, the user is not actually within the frame of the walker. And so what we would look to do is to extend these legs out to the point where, as with the standard walker, you're in the frame of the walker, so you have increased stability on either side, giving it more of a fall safe. As of now, the arms are in a floating position, and that is necessary so that it can collapse on itself. But what we'd really like to do is to be able to float and then also lock in place so that the user can use it, both lock in the vertical direction and in the horizontal direction, so the user can have the right length and setting for as they're walking wherever they need to. One additional feature that if we had more time, we would love to add, and this one is more of an accessory, but going back to the focus group that we had with Elliot, we remembered that one of the key things that he really loved about his walker was that when he was walking around the mall or out going to church and needed a break, he could stop and take a seat behind him in the walker. And so one thing, if we had more time and we're actually able to extend the frame like we had talked about earlier, the potential design that we were considering was a folding seat that folded up onto this leg, then folded up onto this leg, and then those 2 branches of the seat would come down and lock into each other. And this way, the user could stop, take a seat, and be able to get back up and then fold the seat back into the walker.
And just to add to that, it would be fairly easy with this 3-legged design to make that very structurally sound with triangulation and like using this front leg along with these 2 and having one cross member coming up. It'd be very stable and secure. Additionally, it'd be very easy if we wanted a seat to be incorporated to just put locks on the wheels, like foot locks. It's very standard on caster wheels and other kinds of wheels, and that would ensure that when you go to sit down in the walker, it doesn't like move away and you fall. It's very rigid and stable.